On the line with me today, we have Carolyn Tuckwell, President and CEO, and Mandy McLean, Manager of Communications and Planning at Boys and Girls Club of South Coast, BC. Welcome, ladies. Thanks so much for joining us. And I just wanted to chat a little bit today about sort of a recent, way that Microsoft Teams assisted you folks. But before we get into that, maybe could you tell me a little bit about Boys and Girls Club of South Coast, BC, so we are on the same page here?
Absolutely. Boys and Girls Clubs of South Coast, BC is here in the Vancouver area. The South Coast, BC reflects both the Lower Mainland and Fraser Valley, and we offer a place to belong for thousands of kids across this region here in the metropolitan area of Vancouver. And in order to serve those thousands of kids, fundraising is a really critical part of our work. And so we hold two events each year, and our one event was right scheduled as the COVID-19 issues were starting to really impact our community.
Okay. And so what exactly were some of those challenges then that you were up against in terms of that COVID-19? I mean, of course, it has changed quite a few things in the last couple of weeks that we've seen. So what were some of the challenges that you were facing with that in terms of your event?
Yeah, so as a service provider, we of course follow the direction of the health authorities and certainly our provincial health officer around how we can conduct ourselves safely in the community. And so we had an event planned for March 13th, a live event with a comedy focus, debater style with Steve Patterson. And as March unfolded, we were paying very close attention to restrictions around gatherings, group sizes. And up until that very day, March 13th, groups of over 250, actually, I believe going into the event that morning, group sizes were still being referred to as anything over 1,000 was discouraged. And it was just the actual day of the event where the provincial health officer announced that groups of 250 or more were discouraged or actually banned. Our in-person numbers were not going to be at 250, but as things were unfolding, it became very clear that people's comfort level gathering at all was starting to change, and we knew early in the week that we needed to potentially consider another option. We still felt, based on our numbers, that we could go ahead up until the Thursday, and it was really on the Thursday that we came back together as a team and realized that we needed to identify an option to actually bring the event to people virtually. And the reason for that is that we had long since passed the point of being able to cancel or postpone from a logistics perspective. I won't go into that, but it just was not going to be possible. So the reality is that we were going to lose money. And as a nonprofit, I don't think anybody thinks you can lose money. No business wants to lose money, but as a nonprofit, that means actually less service to kids if we actually lose money. Mm-hmm. So it was actually a business colleague here that suggested that ProServeIT and Eric Sugar might be a good introduction for us. And so along with Mandy, who handles a lot of this kind of work in our organization and our own IT provider here in Vancouver, we connected with Eric, who is of course in Toronto, love the world of technology in that way, and got looking at options. I want to say it's really important to acknowledge that Microsoft as a company is so incredibly generous to nonprofits, and we've already been the recipient of software and licenses to support our work typically. And so the option to use Microsoft Teams was especially appealing because we already had it. So even though we weren't already using it very much, knowing that it was something that we already had and that it was highly accessible made it really appealing. And then I'll let Mandy talk maybe more about the functionality.
Yeah, I think that part of this also leading into the event is just the unprecedented times that we found ourselves in. It felt very gray. And so there wasn't a black or white answer, and this is how we're going to do it 100%. It was really relying on our in-house team, and then also with Eric and the ProServeIT team to really figure out the gray, to just give us some ideas on what we could do. And definitely part of that, the Microsoft Teams, as Carolyn said, it's a tool that we have, and we are so lucky and thankful to have that. But it is not something that we've really dove into very much. And so having Eric and Tony especially, and the ProServeIT people, just to be able to sit with us really in real time and literally virtually hold our hands as we tiptoed into the tool, and really focusing in on what we needed and what we didn't really need at this time was so helpful, because I think for anybody who's trying a new platform, especially in a slightly stressful, slightly elevated time, it can be kind of daunting. And so to have that real support in real time, being able to hear each other and speak to each other virtually, and then also walk through the platform, was just so helpful, and just really a big game changer for us as we headed into this event in new territory. Not anything we've ever done before. And so that was incredible.
Wow. And so my question then would be, have you been using Teams more since the event? Like, are you noticing that, like, it's I mean, we use Teams, of course, so I love it, and and we're using it right now, and just have you seen that change or that benefits of Teams since the event happened?
Well, I think maybe I'll pick up where Mandy left off, in the sense that emphasizing that we're really committed in our organization to executing events with one key kind of central focus, and that is flawless logistics. And so to say that we were stressed is is as gentle a way as you could describe what we experienced going into it. It really was. We were absolutely determined to have it happen, and the ability for us to then not only just have the ability to broadcast the event in a closed environment, that it wasn't something that anybody could happen to just stumble across. We really wanted to preserve the value of the sponsors and ticket purchasers, that they were getting this exclusive entertainment from the debaters and Steve Patterson and his crew. And then also that Microsoft Teams gave us the ability to actually welcome our participants in to do everything. And even Steve was totally taken off guard when we were saying at the end of the night that now we're going to announce the auction purchases and who the winners of the raffle were. And he was looking at me like, well, how did we do that? Well, Microsoft Teams gave us the option to have people using the chat function to actually make their bids. And then we had people in the room that were running and actually then putting bids into bins and purchasing raffle tickets that then were messaged back out to people, so that they had the knowledge that they had actually made the purchases they wanted to make. So from both the actual live engagement in the room and also the ability to give us their money, which, let's not kid ourselves, is the reason we wanted to do that event.
Of course.
And to learn to do that in 24 hours and get it functioning to the point where we raised more money this year than we did last year.
Oh,
Now,
wow.
that's the degree to which that this was successful, with the help of ProServeIT and Eric and Tony and Mandy, and in fact our own IT guy here. And that's the difference between losing money and actually making a significant profit, which was so important. So to go virtually in a road race into something, which we never do, and save this event and the money associated with it, was I think set us up well to have an incredible comfort level with then using Microsoft Teams for almost all of what, as of Monday in the following week, became the requirement of our workplace. So keep in mind, this event happened on March 13th, and our community had not yet here in Vancouver been entirely closed down. People were starting to move to online and virtual, but we had not been directed that. We still had another week where we were ramping down our in-person participation at the office. So I felt, for me, and I'm not the most tech savvy person, it felt like a piece of cake to go from that whirlwind into, oh, okay, now we're doing meetings online. Makes sense.
Completely. Yeah.
And here we go. Yeah.
It just felt like that was, I mean, had we been left on our own to dive into it, it would have felt a little bit more like we were drowning at times. But it certainly felt like we had the support we needed to go in from ProServeIT to be able to use the platform the way that we needed to use it. I think that the other part of the event that was so successful was that there was still a lot of energy in the room. And so even though we had people lower numbers in the room, we still had this great participation online, and people were having a great time, which, along with flawless logistics, is exactly what we want them to leave with. We didn't leave the night with people grumbling about the platform or not being there in the room. They really felt like they were able to access a great night in support of a great cause. So that was wonderful.
Oh, that's wonderful.
And so now we have used Microsoft Teams for both our meetings, but also for some work-related social gatherings. That's critically important right now, as everything is so weird in the world, and supporting our culture within our organization is really important. So we've really dedicated ourselves to making sure we're not forgetting to also create some opportunities for people to engage without an agenda, and to do some happy hours, and then to be able to allow our people to use it for, if they want to do a gathering with their families, we've made that possible as well, because in fact these are extraordinary times, and we want people to use it. And I can't say enough about, again, the fact that this isn't a new commitment that Microsoft has made to nonprofits and charities, certainly here in Canada and around the world. And we just can't say enough about the fact that sets us up for success in so many ways. And then when we get access to ProServeIT and the kind of expert support, as Mandy has described, to bring it to life, really helps us to be successful. And it would be so easy to race past it and think, as a check mark, that's done. But what I like about this opportunity is how important it is to talk about how bringing complementary skills together and using these tools in new ways requires us to work together and use the same tools to do that, and then bring to life new things that we hadn't even been at the place of looking at yet.
That's wonderful. Well, thanks so much, Carolyn and Mandy, for joining me today, and for sort of telling me a little bit more about this. And it's, I really want to say that we wish Boys and Girls Clubs of South Coast BC all the success in the world, for sure. So thanks so much, and we'll chat again soon.
Thank you.
Thank you.